Poem number 10. Having a family changes things. Years ago in Taos, Andre from Transylvania, via New Orleans, boasted he could outdrink me, and we bought a quart of vodka for him, mezcal for me, and then we went to the local radio station for an interview. Halfway through on air, he drooled saliva and bubbled on the mic, whispering if I could score some good weed or something to sober him up. And in Chicano slang, so our host could not understand, I announced if anyone listening had weed, coke, or buttons, to meet us in the parking lot. And afterwards, poetry lovers greeted us, the whole parking lot filled with people who loved poetry, offering booze and drugs. With an impromptu tailgate and on Chevy hoods, we partied to the bones, clinked bottles, swigged and chugged, laughed, told jokes, until someone shouldered Andre away, limp as an empty gunny sack, and I saluted his courage by toasting from his half-finished bottle my victory. But having a family changed all that. I can't party like I used to. I take Marisol to her Little League games, the batting cage, where she smacks over 100 pitches. I take my daily vitamins, blend fruits for a fruit smoothie, garlic and fiber every meal. I run 5 miles a day, swim, bicycle, and shoot pool, pay auto insurance and mortgage. But while I run, I wooze into reveries. When, during Mother's Day in Santa Fe, I was invited to read, and the old ones to the left were chatting away, middle-aged men in the center of the square, discussing racehorses, and the young to my right were flirting and giggling and applying mascara. When all of a sudden, because no one seemed to be listening, I cried out, "Motherfuckers!" And every able-bodied man in the crowd came after me. I whispered to my friend Victorio, "Get the car and pull it around in the back. Quick." And just before they leaped on stage to pummel us with tortilla rollers, Victorio and I leaped into the Volvo and sped away. Cans and rocks and sticks flying at our car, we escaped to recite another poem. But having a family changes that. You risk less, and spontaneity is replaced with planning. No longer does all my money go on a single poker hand in a Dallas hotel room. And to sweeten the deal, I toss in the truck title. Nor do I stay up as I used to for weeks with friends drinking Chinaco, tequila, and sotol, with bandits and outlaws on the run from ATS and FBI. Nor do I puke in the mayor's lap when he's talking about how he understands poetry. Nor whiz the cylinder on a 45, click the trigger back playing Who's Chicken. Having a family changes all that. I enjoy waking early to greet the sun and recite my prayers and thankfulness for being alive. I drive my older girl to Sandia Peak for an all-day grueling 16.5-mile race up the mountain and back down, cheerleading her, absolutely ecstatic when she places fourth among 300 competitors. Sweaty, exhausted, mud-grogged, almost passing out, she wavers across the finish line banner, where I bear hug her, pat her back, and head to the grill for burgers and lemonade. Such family joys, high water, foamy whitecaps my journey, with island tides of innocence, filling the trail of father's footprints in moist sand, with wild lashings of wave laughters and tears, pains and joys of being the man they follow, not to get, as I got lost, tempted by bad boy wanderlust. I smuggled guns across the border and sold them to bandits, hijacked tractor-trailers loaded with freshly auctioned tobacco leaf and sold it in Georgia. Or sitting around King Louis's round table, days into weeks we snorted, smoked, and drank, our dreams turning into a moldy and dreary roadside carcass kill. We carried on our backs, scoffing at professors with the departmental sheaves of bemused mouse droppings of poems. Because we gypsies of the night didn't hold back. We cried out our poems, gave birth in groans and spilled blood and wept and roared with all the glory and fire of volcanoes erupting and destroying villages, leaving our own bones as fossils in the poetic ash. We grinned with contempt at literary corpses in cultural suits whose domestic poems were tame as Halloween masks, whose hands begged for attention from soul-throttling English departments, but around the table, if such a poem dared be spoken, we'd drive the fraud out, as Jesus the moneylenders from the temple. We despised those who stole from others, calling it their own, trumped, swollen midget frogs in the toxic pond of their ambition. They cock-a-doodle-dooed poems we knew were stolen from street corner poets or poets who had recited them in pool rooms, letting them read the manuscripts. The professors went back, scribbled it all over in their words, paraded themselves with all the peacock fluff and pomp of asses braying out the wrong end after eating too many beans. But you know, having a family rounds the sharp edge of your opinion now. And we listened to the stolen poetry and read the interviews acclaiming them the greatest or the master or the cultural godfather, and all the rest of the cliched cut-spit bullshit slimy alfalfa wad that drooled the pages of Sunday art sections here in Albuquerque. But you see, having a family changes your temperament. You become more tolerant of that. To bad poems and poetry thieves and self-proclaimed masters. Conscious more of bills now than academic bullshit. More attentive to stoolworms and dog shit than the book editor's parochial crap on Sundays spoiling your first cup of morning coffee. With his politically correct views, so pure and saintly it doesn't smell, and you all know, when you've changed enough diapers, you know certain laws of nature just don't change. But having a family changes things. I just couldn't pluck out of a hat what direction I'd take or what I might do. I had to be there for the crying and the screaming and the kisses and the hugs. Revving poems on the page that could take the turns I was taking. No more bouncing off road trails across the prairie for a shortcut to a place I was already days late in getting to. No more lunches in avant-garde cafes in the village with 100 different versions of lattes and women. Instead, I spun spaghetti in pots so it wouldn't stick, and spooned and sauced and ladled out steaming heaps on plates. Proud of these small accomplishments, like throwing baseball or swimming with my kid, achievements that have no rival and need no plaque or banquet or medal. Having a family safe and healthy let me sleep good at night. Dream deep about new dishes I wanted to cook. Sure to keep salt and pepper shakers full, have ample sugar and cereal. You learn the joys of gardening. Smile when you enter the bathroom and see a book about magic tricks lying on the floor by the toilet. And while sitting in the Ferris wheel, telling your daughter not to swing it, you see why you couldn't win a bear looking down at the basketball goal. It's oval. And you decide to try the booth with the BB gun and paper red star. The softballs tossed in the wicker baskets wouldn't stay. These things matter when you have a family. Believe me, these things matter.